What I would like to know, and I'm like all over the place. I'm like, I, because like Hillary Clinton just does not align with where my beliefs are right now. I am so for everything that the Green Party believes in, but at the same time, I'm like so weary of the Donald Trump situation, and it sucks because it's like, it's real legitimate fear. For a very long time, I tried to ignore him and everything that was happening with him, and I continued to be amazed at the media coverage and the ground that he was breaking, and that, just how many people were supporting him. And it's like, I feel like I'm at the point where either I don't plan on voting, or I plan on voting for Jill Stein, and that sucks, because I feel like my choice I've been stripped of my choice. It's like you're literally choosing between the lesser of the two evils at this point. I'm not excited about, a Hillary election. I'm not excited about that. To me, it just seems like business as usual. And so I want to know, like, kind of like, what does the Green Party, is the Green Party prepared for, once again, not winning and, potentially, causing the Donald Trump presidency to happen? Where do you guys stand on that? And what advice would you have for somebody like myself that's just kind of like, I'm kind of just like, fuck it at this point,
Right. So in California in 2012, Barack Obama won by 2.9 million votes, almost 3 million. So, assuming we have a larger population now, if 1 million progressives in California voted for Jill Stein instead of Hillary Clinton would win by 1.5 to 2 million votes anyway. So it's not a national election. It's a state-by-state election. There's only 10 states where it's close. So the narrative that they use to scare us, actually, assuming you accept that, that's only in a small number of states, and it's not here. But it's disingenuous when they use it for the whole country, because then it becomes an argument to not start any alternative anywhere, rather than saying you're right to advocate for an alternative, but it's dangerous in these few circumstances. So that's one of the problems. When I listened to Ben Shelsh's debate Jill Stein last week on Democracy Now!, he was playing that same sort of thing. And a guy like him, who's a generally very progressive guy, kept saying, well, I really am sympathetic with the Green Party. Well, if you are, then why aren't you working for proportional representation and instant runoff voting and all that sort of stuff? But why are you playing this argument that it's a national issue? So in your case, you actually have a choice that you wouldn't have had because the Green Party is there. And what you do in California isn't going to change anything other than if you vote green and the green number increases in California, that's a sign to the larger parties to take those issues seriously. If you don't do that and you just give your vote to Hillary, then they can take it for granted.
I think there's an oversimplification that happens because that the spoiler narrative is exactly that. It's a narrative, and they like to bring out Ralph Nader, but then they don't. That's not really representative of what's happening now, because right now we're in a four-way race, not a three-way race. But they don't want to talk about that it's a four-way race. You'll never hear them bring up Gary Johnson in that narrative. And I think the thing that Jill Stein is actually, even if she loses, the thing that I now see more people talking about that she very much started was why Donald Trump exists. And it's historically, when you look at this, it's that when countries are neoliberal for so long, they always end up having this opposing faction that is extremely right-wing. We saw it in Germany, we see it right now. That's exactly what happened in Poland. And the whole idea that this election has to be about stopping Trump, if that's the only part of the narrative, then that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of time. Because if Hillary Clinton just gets into office and isn't pushed to the progressive place that she needs to be, we're just going to end up in 4 years with someone like Ted Cruz, and then in 4 years someone worse. Because history tells us that the longer the neoliberals are in power, the more extreme and the more powerful and the more people will back the counter conservative movement. And Jill Stein's really the only person who's talking about that. And you see a little bit now when she goes on like the Young Turks, or she goes on Democracy Now! And she talks about these things. When she leaves, people will actually, those newscasters and stuff are asking other people about it. So it's now creating a narrative. So even if the Green Party loses, at least that narrative starting that we can't do this election by election by election, because eventually we will lose.